been a while since I reviewed a movie about a crashing airplane. Link down in the description to the first one I did. This time, we start right off with the plane crashing.
Say again, Minneapolis.
Jesus, down!
Oh my God.
Down! Go down!
Both planes crash, and the country's premier crash investigator, Bill Smith, played by Kris Kristofferson, shows up and listens to the black box tape recordings. But the co-pilot says something strange during the recording.
Just look for a flat place, anything. We'll be on the ground.
They're dead. They're all dead.
What the hell's he talking about? Sit down, for Christ's sake, Ron.
They're dead. All of them. They're burned up.
Jesus.
There's a little bit more strangeness going on when all the digital watches that survived the crash are running backwards.
Look at this.
As confused as he is, Kris Kristofferson, he always has time for the ladies.
We could go have coffee.
Some dinner and a few drinks. That'd be nifty. Am I moving too fast for you?
I can move fast too.
They do both move fast, and the next scene is of them waking up in bed together the next morning. She asks him to quit his job and for them to run off together. And yet another weird little thing happens.
We'll talk about it tonight. Louise?
That's the end of the weird little things. Now we get into weird big things. As suddenly, this fucking happens.
There was a little problem.
Those words will be engraved in the annals of understatement.
Your mother was a cash register.
And she turned a tidy profit, too.
We go from watches running backwards and unexplained mechanical failures to pun-telling robots. If you notice in the beginning crash scene, none of the people on the plane were moving. There's a reason for that. Turns out their love interest for this movie, Cheryl Ladd, is actually from 1,000 years in the future. She works for the government and goes back in time taking people off of aircrafts. Because in the future, nobody can have children. The only way to grow the population is to take people that were going to die. Aircrafts are the perfect solution because the bodies are destroyed in the crash and there's no way to identify them. So they just replace the bodies with corpses, dress them up to look like the people that were sitting in them seats, and the people sitting in them seats get to live happily in the future.
Excuse me, would you mind telling me what's going on?
Please step onto the ramp. Walk quickly to the bottom and follow instructions. You will be taken to a safe
Let's get you out of here.
Idiots.
I can't tell where.
That's the survivor. Buckle him in and come and help me with Susan.
Please step
Will you
onto
stop
the
pushing
ramp.
out, Paige?
Walk quickly to the bottom and follow instructions. You will be taken to a safety area. Please step onto the ramp. Walk quickly to the bottom and follow instructions. You will be taken to a safety area.
Okay, this part's kind of hard to explain, but I'm going to try my best. The storyline we saw has not happened for the people in the future. In the future, all that's happened is she went back in time to grab a futuristic device that was accidentally left behind. Kris Kristofferson sees her and is like, I know you. And then she goes through the portal and disappears. The fact that he knows her means that sometime in the future, she has to go back in time to his past to meet him so that he has something to remember her from. So no matter how bad she fucks up, and at this point she's had 2 people killed and left 2 futuristic devices in the past, they can't fire her, she can't quit, she has to go back in time and meet him so that he remembers her. The more he remembers her and the more he thinks about her without having met her creates a paradox. So she has to go back in time to remedy the paradox. Because a paradox means the death of the future. This isn't like Back to the Future where there's 2 possible futures. There's only one. So everybody in the current future dies and a new future is created based on anything you change in the past. Overall, yeah, she goes back and I told you that right he meets her, the next scene they are waking up in bed together. We get to see their 20-minute date for no reason. That 20 minutes in the movie, it's based on a novel. I'm sure it's meaningful and you get to meet the characters and think about. But at this point, we're stuck in sci-fi. We're having explosions and robots and people in test tubes and governmental problems and the end of the world. And then we just watch them eat dinner and talk about their lives for 20 minutes, an hour into the movie, and it's like, why am I watching this? I know they end up having sex. I know they end up waking up in bed together. I've seen half these scenes from his point of view. Why do I need to see them from hers? Why do I need to see the filler? And it's just too much. If that part was out of the movie, this movie would be great. It has such a great idea. It was originally a short story. People were like, this is awesome, turn this into a novel. And he did, and it's a great novel. And then it's movie, they leave too much in. People always say, oh, their novel is much richer. And that's good in book form, but in this case, they should have left that stuff out. The acting's still good, Cheryl Ladd's still gorgeous, and I still enjoyed the parts of the movie that I enjoyed, but there's like a 20-minute period in it that just skip it. The second he meets her in her timeline to when she steps through, disappears in her timeline, just skip that 20-minute little part. Thank you for watching, and as always, I shall try to do better next time. Here's your bonus clip where a robot gives women advice on how to pick up men.
Take him to dinner. Someplace romantic.
How do I do that?
Pick him up, my dear.
How?
Drop your hanky. Wiggle your behind.
You're the woman, Louise. You figure it out.